Thank you for tuning into the Northern Miner here at the Precious Metals Summit in Beaver Creek, Colorado. I'm pleased to introduce Canagold CEO, Katalin Kilofliski. Welcome.
Thank you, and great to be here.
All right. So the company is working on the new Polaris gold antimony mine in British Columbia, Canada, with a newly filed feasibility study and with showing strong economics and with additional upside stemming from the antimony credits. So for those who may not know Canagold, could you kindly describe the company and what makes New Polaris stand out?
Absolutely. I think happy to be here, and I would argue that not only the New Polaris stand out, Canagold stand out as a company, and I will tell you the reasons why. We are a TSX listed company, but we have a large shareholder, which is called Sun Valley Investments, owns 48.5% of the company. The reason why that's important is, the Sun Valley is over $1 billion in assets under management, exclusively focused on mining. They own privately gold mines that they operate. They also own 66% of a public company called Mineros, which is over $1 billion market cap, which is a gold producer, producing about 220,000 ounces annually. And they also are fully integrated in the metal processing basis, where they own refineries and gold, processing facilities. Very important to know that, because effectively Canagold, even though it's a sub $100 million market cap company, does have the team with the Sun Valley extension and the expertise in-house through our partnership with Sun Valley to build a mine and, most importantly, finance the capital required to get the mine into production. So this is why I would argue that the company is unique, and the fact that New Polaris is unique based on our research, based on the grade of the gold of the deposit that is in the feasibility study, about just under 10 grams gold, and the antimony component, which is again a high-grade antimony component. When you combine those two together, we argue it's the highest grade gold antimony mine in the world to be put in production. So lots of reasons to prove that we are both a unique company and a very unique project.
Right. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about antimony. It really seems to be a little bit of a buzzword at the moment. How does that really move the needle forward for the company?
Yeah, absolutely. Very good question. And I think before we do that, maybe a quick review of the feasibility study. I mean, feasibility is public. It's available on our website. People can go and download it. But really what it highlights the ability to produce 1 ounce of gold for about $1,250 all in sustaining costs. It proves that we can build the entire project for about 250 million Canadian dollars, which is fairly affordable given the size of the project, and also demonstrate the production potential to produce for about 80% of the production time, 100,000 ounces of gold annually, right? And all that does not include any antimony credit, right? And the reason why it doesn't include antimony credit is actually a factual reason why we're able to include the resource of antimony and confirm very quickly, because we had all the assays in-house. We did not have, and for the time of feasibility study, the metallurgical tests were to prove the recovery of the antimony, right? So we've chosen to go ahead with the project the way it is right now, gold and antimony mining with no revenue on antimony. And even in that scenario, our project is highly, highly profitable. So everything to do with mining the antimony, producing concentrate, is covered in the current affairs. Anything to do with money making from antimony is upside potential. Right? So given the fact that we have about 5,000 tons of antimony metal in the current mine plan, and that's already there, you could argue that's metal worth anywhere between $250 to $300 million. Most of that will go straight to the bottom line. Right? So, this is the work we were doing right now to prove all this theory at a very detailed technical level, and we're very excited about the potential to make the project even more attractive.
Very briefly, can you just talk a little bit about the antimony fundamentals? Why is it so important at this stage?
I think, exactly a very good question. I mean, antimony, nobody cared for it about 12 months ago. And the reason for it was always plentiful and available from China. China, even to this day, supplies most of the antimony used globally. And antimony has lots of uses, but in most of the uses, it's actually in defense. And look at what we're living today. How much munition is required, and where is the US sitting versus this, right? And really, even US, up until recently, was importing most of the antimony from China. And China closed that door to the US. And also, US has realized that it's not a way to go forward. And what has happened, the price of antimony went up parabolic, right? And while before they didn't have any economic significance, now it's a very important element. This is the reason why both US, Europe, Canada is recognized antimony as a critical metal, which actually now makes our project a critical metal project too, right? It's not just gold, it's gold and antimony, and we had antimony in the resource and in the mine plan. So we basically are truly a gold antimony critical metal producer, right? And the beautiful thing about what we have, when we have a high grade core, we've never really looked for it, right? So there is the potential to have a lot more than what we already quantified, because it's never been the focus. It was what we got with the gold, but is there more? Very likely. We'll have to find out. Okay. So very exciting.
All right. So let's look at your neighbors. You have formed a long-standing relationship with the Taku River Tlingit First Nation in British Columbia. How does this partnership guide your approach in advancing the project forward?
It's instrumental, right? Even to the point where the company has built a relation with the First Nation that goes more than 20 years, right? It's really the last 3 years that we formalized the partnership, and we have an understanding in place where we've established a formal working relationship, to the extent that in the last 3.5 years, we've been meeting with a technical working group, which is part Canagold, part Taku River Tlingit First Nation, part technical experts that are hired by Taku River Tlingit First Nation, to review and provide input in every aspect of the project, right? So everything that you see in today's feasibility study is a result of lots of consultation, lots of feedback, and lots of changes and improvements to accommodate, the concerns of the project. We're generally committed to create not only economic partnerships with the First Nation, but leave legacies behind. The project in the current planning stage has the potential to leave lots of legacies behind, starting from, putting people through school, and then getting people through higher education, and also leaving some of the things that would be doing in the project, for example, looking at green hydro, this is something that could be left in the society for the community there. We're looking at partnership with them in every aspect of the mining operation itself. So the list goes on and on and on. And really, we've been very fortunate to have a fantastic group to deal with, and they are an instrumental part of our current permitting efforts. And not only the permitting efforts, but as we run the mine and as we close the mine, they will be always part of the process.
Nice. That's the way it should be done.
Absolutely.
All right. So mining is changing rapidly with the advent of new technologies and sustainability expectations. How is Canagold managing those expectations at New Polaris to make it both profitable and future focused?
Yeah, absolutely. Very good question. I mean, the location of the project geographically is challenging, right? But there's no roads to go to the project, and really no ability to build a road, yet there is no power available on the project. So the economics you see on the project, even though they are robust, they are based on the assumption that we generate our own power with diesel power, and then we fly out the concentrate to Juneau, Alaska, it's about 50 kilometers away from the project. Those are both carbon intensive and high cost things, right? The project does have a real potential for additional clean energy. And there is a potential for run-of-river, which could provide about 50% of the annualized power requirements for the project. There's not only environmental friendly, but also allows a possible furthering of the partnership with the First Nation in the hydro piece, and also further lowering the operating costs and improving the economics. So that's something we've actually decided again in consideration with the First Nation to bring under the current permitting process. So we brought in the possible hydro facility environmental assessment and the current environmental assessment effort. And we are in evaluation and discussion with them to see if we can create partnerships that are linked to green energy. And then on the technology side, everything you mentioned, antimony, has various uses, and we're actually looking at the possibility to produce pure antimony outside of the project side, right? It's going to be that probably somewhere in the US because that's where the consider end up today. But we are looking to produce a high purity product that could be used in electronics, and why not? The reason why we're doing that is because Sun Valley already is doing that in gold. They produce all the way to those nice little bars. They have the experience in house, and we're looking at fully unlocking the potential of the economic potential of the project.
Okay, so we've spoken about a lot of elements to the story, but please just walk me through the catalysts and their associated timelines over the next 12 months. Yeah. And if you will, perhaps even further out 5-10 years, what's the vision?
Absolutely. Please do so. So I think really now that I think there's very clear proof that the project is sound economically, we need to permit the project, right? And we mentioned very much the partnership with the First Nation. The BC government also is truly working with the companies now to foster permitting, and BC mining minister is actually at this conference meeting with companies and investors. That tells something. And the president is doing something, and also the prime minister in BC is committed as well. As far as catalyst for the company for the next 12 months, we are in the process to, aim to file the application for the environmental assessment in about 6 months, more or less from today. That's an important catalyst. We've been working on it for 2.5 years to be in a position to do that. That's an important catalyst. As the work gets completed on this whole antimony upside potential, we will be announcing those results too. So it will be probably a constant news flow on what's the work regarding antimony, what are we doing on clean energy, and then constant progress on permitting. So that's some news, will be a constant flow. It's not like a monthly flow of news, but, I would say it's every, 3 months to 3 months, we should have progress, right? We are moving now from exploration to a pre-production story. So progress is what matters.
Yeah, absolutely. And then further out, 5 to 10 years, what's your vision?
Yeah, I think further out, if you look again at the structure of the company with such a large producing company behind us, you could see Canagold becoming larger. You could see Canagold possibly looking at the project. You could see, the company move from one asset company to more diversified company. That's a lot on our radar right now. So don't be surprised if we end up, increasing the size of the company, acquiring other projects or doing something strategic. Again, the way to add shareholder value with a private investor that cares about that. We're just assured that that's the focus of the company, has to add shareholder value.
Okay, all right. There you have it. That was Katalin Kilofliski, the CEO of Canagold. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.